ME/CFS is one of the most disabling illnesses you've never heard of. But if you're living with long COVID, you might be closer to this diagnosis than you realize. Today I'm sharing 10 sobering facts about ME/CFS and why they matter just as much for long COVID patients too. The NIH Recover study found that just under 5% of adults who had COVID-19 infection met the Institute of Medicine IOM criteria for ME/CFS at least 6 months post-infection. Before the pandemic, about 1.5 million Americans were living with ME/CFS. But after COVID-19, researchers like Dr. Leonard Jason estimate that the number may have ballooned to between 5 and 9 million. That's due to the significant overlap between ME/CFS and long COVID. A 2021 international study of nearly 4,000 long COVID patients found that more than 70% experienced post-exertional malaise, the hallmark symptom of ME/CFS. For many, COVID triggered a long-term disabling condition that looks and behaves a lot like ME/CFS. The rise in cases also translate to a massive economic cost, now estimated at $149 to $362 billion per year in the US alone. I'm not sharing these facts to depress you or scare you. I'm just saying the quiet part out loud because we have to. Since the COVID pandemic, so many more people are entering this community, often without knowing it. If you're one of them, if you've been dealing with long COVID and struggling to understand what's happening in your body, this might be the beginning of that understanding. These facts aren't here to create fear, they're here to start real conversations about what life with post-viral illness actually looks like. Even as many doctors hear about ME/CFS, getting a diagnosis still takes years. The National Academies of Medicine report found patients often go years undiagnosed, even with clear symptoms. This is happening again with long COVID. People are dismissed, misdiagnosed, and gaslit. It took me over 5 years to get a diagnosis. How long did it take you? Severe cases of ME/CFS are linked to higher rates of suicide. In some countries, patients have sought assisted suicide due to the unbearable suffering. The ME Association 2023 review highlights not only suicide, but deaths from malnutrition, cardiovascular disease, and even cancer in those with severe forms of the illness. It's naive to think that people don't die from post-viral illness. They absolutely do. Studies show quality of life in ME/CFS is lower than that of cancer, heart failure, or multiple sclerosis. Many are bedbound, light-sensitive, and unable to care for themselves. Long COVID patients are now reporting similar severe disability. Severe cases aren't rare, they're just invisible. Only 5% of ME/CFS patients fully recover. Around 75% can't return to work full-time. Early data on long COVID suggests similar outcomes. In one UK study, more than 30% of long COVID patients were still unable to work 2 years after the initial infection. ME/CFS receives just 5 to 17 million annually from the NIH. Long COVID research has received an initial investment of 1.15 billion. These, of course, were statistics before a certain US administration took an axe to research funding. There are still no FDA-approved treatments for ME/CFS. Most patients manage symptoms through pacing, off-label medications, special diets, and supplements. Long COVID patients face a similar reality, lots of symptom management, and very few options for actual targeted treatment. Only about 15 ME/CFS specialists practice in the US, and most are nearing retirement. In Germany, where I am, there are even fewer. Long COVID clinics are overwhelmed and under-resourced. Some clinics in the UK often rely on the same outdated models that failed ME/CFS patients for decades: graded exercise therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy. ME/CFS can affect kids too. The onset peaks between 11 and 19 years old, yet pediatricians are rarely trained to recognize it. I first got sick at 15. What's worse, long COVID is now a leading cause of long-term disability in children. Recent CDC data suggests up to 1 in 7 children with COVID may have lingering symptoms months later. ME/CFS was wrongly labeled yuppie flu back in the 80s, but in reality, it disproportionately affects communities of color. The same is true of long COVID. Black, Latino, and Indigenous communities have higher rates of infection, lower access to care, and greater diagnostic delay. This is a health equity crisis. These facts are hard to hear, but they're not meant to take away hope. I share them because they're real statistics. And if you're new to this, especially if you're dealing with long COVID, you're not alone, and what you're experiencing is valid. We've ignored post-viral illness for decades. We've underfunded it, misunderstood it, but now with millions more patients experiencing the same debilitating patterns, we have a real opportunity. We have an opportunity to research better, to treat earlier, and to support each other more openly. Hope doesn't come from pretending everything is okay. It comes from naming what's wrong and demanding something better. This video is a summary of an old blog post, which is linked below with all of the citations. Please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos on post-viral illness and evidence-based care.